Greetings, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to this latest narration of the web series The Nature of Predators. If you're new to the series, there is a playlist listed down below in the description. And as always, I hope that you enjoy. Chapter 111, Memory Transcription, Subject, Slenek, Vendel Space Corps. Date, Standardized Human Time, December 15th, 2136. This was my human's first visit to Vendel Prime, and for that matter, to any alien world in a non-military capacity. Tyler and Onzo tagged along on our escapade, along with Vernt and the miserable Burla. The Tillfish child's outburst unnerved me, until I remembered Marcel's words about people who were harmless but different. Predator disease was propaganda, and these specific symptoms needed scientific evaluation. General Burla agreed to let the humans observe a child's behavior, which proved that she was desperate for help. I could tell that she would have preferred to return to Sidus. Marcel's reminder that the Federation would torment Vernt might have been the wake-up call Burla needed. The Tillfish General was still hesitant to leave her son alone with the Predator therapist. However, Vernt wasn't dropping his humor obsession and was making life difficult for his mother. The explanation was said to be coming, but the Terrans wished to stretch their legs before tackling serious matters. Marcel marveled at the circular designs of the roads and even knelt to press a palm to the fall-absorbent sidewalks. Humans didn't stampede-proof their cities, from what I could see on Earth. Meanwhile, Vernt rode on Tyler's shoulders. The blonde-haired soldier had warmed up to the little Tillfish.
"Faster! Humans never get tired!"
The Tillfish child cheered.
"Run across the whole planet!"
Blura flicked an antennae suspiciously. "That's true enough. Care to explain, Marcel?" The red-haired human smirked. "I do not." "You never do. Where are we even going?"
"A good question. When I asked, he told me out," I chimed in. "Humans are irritatingly non-specific, but trust me, don't ask about them not getting tired."
Byrne played with Tyler's earlobe.
"You chase prey forever!"
The Tillfish General stopped walking down the streets of Vendel Prime as the viability of that guess dawned on her. The blonde-haired human stiffened. His canines gnawed on his lower lip, clearly discomfited. Marcel leapt up from admiring the sidewalk and shot a desperate look at me for assistance. I slapped my tail across his nose dismissively, which earned a disbelieving scoff.
"Interesting," Onzo muttered. "That explains why our exchange program banned cardiovascular exercise."
Tyler jumped in with a hurried subject change. "Hey, Slenek, you asked where we're heading. Wonder Boy here wants to go to Vendel Rescue Facility after he's done making out with the sidewalk."
I was just curious what it was made of. Marcel wringed his hands through his hair. Eyes narrowed with indignation. It looked like obsidian, but come to think of it, I've never asked if Vendel Prime has volcanoes. "We do. Most are dormant," I answered.
Bulra still looked rattled by Vernt's obsession.
"Wait, what is a Vendel Rescue Facility? A place for exchange pairings that have gone, wrong? Even your answers only raise more questions."
"Humans have been freeing people from ox or cattle farms, starting with the Vendel. Marshall here," Tyler began.
"Not my name.
It's 4 fecking syllables, man. Marcel Fraser. As I was saying, Marshall Fraser wants to tour the rescued Vendel's place of residence. Word is, the poor soul's just found out that we have some unfortunate eyes. It's pandemonium. All the places we could go, free on an alien planet, and he wants to be the good Samaritan. No one ordered you to come with me. Hell, I only asked Bulra and the little man because we're meeting with a friend of sorts. She was going to help me explain a few things about Vernt."
"I'm surprised that he spent his leisure time on such, serious matters,"
Bulra responded. "No, of course he would." Tyler pressed his hand to one side of his mouth and leaned towards the Tillfish General conspiratorially. "Marcel walks on water. His shit doesn't stink." Onzo gave a devious ear flick.
"Don't you mean Marcel?"
"You mean Marcel?"
Vernt agreed.
"Nulia will be so happy that your nickname is catching on," I said, in a sickly sweet voice. "It's so mature of you to accept it. You're a great adoptive father, Marcel."
"Ah!" Marcel's voice took on a bellowing quality, and he fixed his glare inches from my face. I was unimpressed by his charade, and his dazzling eyes had no effect on me. "I'm going to have Monahan start the ship and leave without all of you." The Yodel snorted.
"Good luck with that. You're the new guy here. Also, if you think that you can give the captain orders, then you're in for a rude awakening. She doesn't feck around. I like her."
Onzo's aggression was notable from the moment I met him. He was my first real contact with the Yodel.
It had seemed like the lousy joke when I heard that Tyler was accepted into the exchange program, but I realized how little censoring was needed for the species. Once I would have been leery of this fact, but something about their flippancy made sense. Perhaps this young spacefaring race were the only ones who understood the violent undercurrent I'd unearthed in myself. I'm learning to trade predatory quips with the Terrans just like Onzo does. I certainly like him a lot more than Tyler's inexplicable packmate, Sovlin. Interest flashed in Onzo's eyes as he noticed my natural gaze on him. The Yodel wrapped his tail around mine and dragged me ahead of the predators. Despite Marcel's dawdling, we were almost at our destination. The current location of the rescue program was a gated institution per the news broadcast. Terran soldiers stood by the zigzagged entrance and pointed their large assault rifles at the ground.
You are the first herbivores that have treated me as an equal, that hasn't called me a primitive uplift or shown open disgust when I speak aggressively,
Onzo offered. I straightened my ears in surprise. I know what it's like to be disparaged, I guess. Tell you what, you don't call me at all venal, weak, and emotional, and I won't use any names against you, Yodel.
Deal. But I reserve the right to insult you on a personal level.
Likewise. I've been around humans longer than you. I'm learning.
Ha! You're nothing like I thought you'd be, especially from what Tyler said about you. You're not put off by ribbing.
Onzo, I'm not the one to judge you for that. I probably have predator disease.
Shut the fuck up. Never repeat that again, you hear me? You have no idea what they'll do to you. I'm not talking about humans. Your own people will bleed your soul.
Okay, sorry. I'm just saying without my instincts in the driver's seat, I've been more aggressive and understable. Charging into battle, killing.
Shit. You Venal were probably all sorts of fired up before the feds got to you. I bet that they went to great lengths to tame you, and you probably were a highly empathetic race from the start. But they distorted that. Pick the parts you like and discard the rest.
They did that to you, the Yodel?
Yes. That's surprising but nice, to have a non-human believe me. Thanks, Lanek.
Onzo broke off our chat, but Tyler raised a questioning eyebrow. Passive concern had lingered in the blonde human's gaze for the entire trip. The Yodel must have shared something with him to elicit this response. The marsupial hissed in annoyance when Tyler rubbed his shoulder comfortingly. Marcel picked up on the tense undercurrent and narrowed his eyes at the duo. Is everything okay? My human asked. Onzo bared his teeth.
It's good that you left Dino on the ship.
Of course it is. Bulra shuddered just thinking of the dog. I'd become partial to the domesticated predator because of its docile behavior.
We wouldn't want that thing terrorizing Vendel at a cattle facility, no less.
Rescue facility, Marcel corrected.
Onzo is right, trust me. 2 humans are terrifying enough to look at. If you're not used to it, you've both been very nice to me and Vern, but it's still a lot. Dogs would have Vendel catatonic on the floor, a public safety hazard.
The Yodel lashed his tail. What I meant is they'd burn Dino alive. Harder to do with him on a ship.
Why burn Doggy?
Vern asked. Because the dog doesn't fit with their narrative of predators being evil, and it should suffer for that. That's why they tried to slaughter the humans. Tyler nudged his friend. That's enough. Kids don't need to be told about death and suffering. You're right. Sorry. The UN guards at the entrance shared a glance, having heard enough of our conversation. They formed a human wall, moving closer together to block our entrance. We deposited ourselves at the facility gate without any of us noticing the journey was complete. The redhead officer showed them something on his holopad and engaged in a series of hushed whispers with the guard. This is a sensitive situation, sir, with a mass panic abounding, the guard said. The only names on that communique are you and the Vendel and Bulra. Even with this Miss Rosario's invitation, such a large group is inadvisable. Marcel shook his head. Tyler and I would be happy to wear masks. Vernt is an actual child, and Onzo is part of our crew. We can't be the only man left out, right? The problem is that these men will know what's under the masks now, sir. They think we're slavering predators who go mad for a lick of blood. When they see large groups of us, they think it's a hunting pack. I know it's batshit crazy, but...
Marcel?
A female Terran with dark curls waved a hand at us and flashed her teeth. Sarah Rosario, the human astronaut, had invited us.
Come on in, and bring your friends. I'm sure that there won't be any trouble.
The UN guard stepped to the side and cleared a path. They took a few extra steps back as Bulra passed, which led to me question the wisdom of bringing her here. What if bringing a tillfish around stressed-out Gaians caused them to panic too? This place was a powder keg already. We didn't need to tempt fate. The last thing I wanted was to disrupt crucial work done towards human acceptance. However, the Odyssey astronaut seemed unfazed by the tillfish. The glint in her eyes was a mix of wonder and curiosity. I could only imagine how giddy Sarah had been at first contact, partaking in mankind's first opportunity to examine extraterrestrial life. Marcel and I had encountered this influential human twice, throughout my instincts training and during his painstaking recovery at the outpost. In our first meeting, she had asked if I wanted to seek a new partner to ensure that I wouldn't ditch him in his lowest moments. I think Sarah was pleased when she saw that I cared about him as a person. She probably used to being treated like a faceless monster. The renowned predator sped back to the facility, and our group followed without comment. I saw humans in opaque helmets wandering the hallways. Their posture screamed exhaustion and frustration. On scattered security feeds, I could see Vendel rescues and lifeless stupors. Only a small percent were engaging with the caretakers, and those interactions were filled with tears and fear. "Sarah!" A timid voice came from a spare room, where I saw a Vendel poring over an interactive textbook. Her coarse pelt looked a bit ragged, though it was showing signs of recovery. "This says your ancient theaters could house tens of thousands of people." Sarah quickened her pace. "That's right, AC. Curiously enough, that's still the size of many modern stadiums. You're telling me tens of thousands of humans from primitive hunting days could amass in a central venue, and none of them would kill each other?" "Correct. We can be entertained without any violence." "That's remarkable." "That's not that remarkable," Onzo chimed in. The Vendels had snapped up as our posse filtered through the doorway. She yelped in alarm, and her mottled ears pinned back against her head. Hazy couldn't seem to decide whether to be more afraid or scared, Marcel or towering Tyler. Her fear turned into a full-fledged scream as both humans smiled. The rescue was gone in a flash, shimmying beyond a bookcase. Sarah frowned. "Hazy is shy around newcomers, still doesn't like humans she doesn't know, and has to take breaks even from being around me. It's progress, though. I'm just happy that she let me back into her life." I don't mean to be rude, but is there a reason we're here? I was told that you could help with Vernd," Bora clicked. "Yes. Why don't we discuss this out in the hall and give Hazy some peace?" The Terran scientist steered us back out into the hallway, finding an isolated corner to hold our discussion. She whispered something to Tyler, who flashed her a thumbs-up gesture. The blonde human took Vernd over to the vending machine and allowed him to play with the buttons. I eyed the receptacle with longing, wondering if the predators had imported potato chips. Bilra sported a look of focused concern, worried about what the humans might say. "Marcel says that predator disease encompasses thousands of unique conditions. That means humans likely have a narrower diagnosis for Vernd." "I read what Dr. W.R.E sent me, and I agree with her advice," Sarah said in a low voice. "And for why my help has been enlisted, I've interacted with aliens at length, so I understand your views on mental health as well as our own. Based on what we've seen, Vernd would benefit from an autism screening with a specialist." "Autism?" Bora echoed. "That word didn't translate it. Is it, what's the prognosis? What are you doing to do with him?" "Well, not to confuse it with the umbrella term predator disease, but autism itself is a spectrum. It can present with any combination of traits and behavior patterns. In general, simplistic terms, social difficulties and repetitive interests are the common denominator. Humans appear to be one of Vernd's special interests." "Okay. How do I fix it? Please, you have a cure to this interest." "It doesn't work like that, Bora. You'd be better off finding ways to help Vernd deal with his unique challenges, rather than trying to change him. We're working with alien biology here, so there's no telling if your brains present the same as humans, but I have a pamphlet here, with an overview of common symptoms in our species." This can't be happening. You said you could cure him, Marcel." Marcel scratched his scalp. "Vernd is most likely neurodivergent. He's not broken. He's just different. I know in your heart you love him and accept him for who he is. You don't want him to change. You want him to be happy." "And of course, again, we're judging this based on our criteria for our species." Sarah wagged a pointer finger as though drilling the message into Bora's skull. "With the Federation's take on mental health, it's difficult to get an accurate data sense. There's nothing to go off here, and no telling how your conditions mirror or diverge from ours." I listened in contemplative silence and mulled over the qualities that Sarah had outlined. It was a shame that Bora's pamphlet had translated into Tilfish lexicon. I couldn't read the full explanation. The scientist hadn't elicited anything threatening to the herd as part of Vernd's condition. This sounded like a disconnect with social norms and a lack of diversity in interests. Under Federation rule, would a harmless child like this little guy become an outcast? Or worse? Awkwardness caused me to shuffle my paw. Sarah, would you mind going into a bit of detail about the symptoms on the pamphlet? I'm curious. I'd like to have something in my head other than the predator disease to fall back on. On Earth, most individuals on the spectrum have sensory issues, she replied. They often don't like change, even minor ones, like when Vernt was told that he couldn't go to Earth. The good news is that Vernt doesn't seem to have a learning or speech impediments we see in the most severe forms. Bora twisted her antennae. Vernt is very bright. He soaks up knowledge like a sponge. I wish there was something that I could do to help him, though. There is. Be supportive of his interests and be patient with him. He may need help expressing his feelings appropriately, as well as distinguishing the feelings of others. He might have difficulty relating to his peers, so an accepting mother could lessen his loneliness and his struggles. Tyler approached the group with slow steps, and the conversation hushed at once. Vernt was picking at a package of Terran fruit snacks. Rather than stuffing a red one into his mandibles, the Tillfish child tried to cram it inside the blonde human's ear. Onzo had to laugh at his partner as the big guy swatted at his head. "You fucking terror! Help!" Tyler yelped. Marcel snickered before prying Vernt away from the tall predator. My friend returned to the fruit snacks, but was careful to keep the Tillfish out of reach of his auditory canals. Sarah had a good-natured smirk on her face, though Bora seemed mortified by her son's mischief. The Tillfish general scuttled forward. "I'm so sorry, Tyler." "Oh, it's fine." My redhead buddy jumped in. "Tyler's just not used to having anything inside his head. It must be nice for him to see what it's like." The blonde human raised a fist. "Sarah, can you ban him from the exchange program already? That's predatory behavior right there." "Why would I ban the cutest duo in the whole program? Even if I had that authority." The Terran scientist flashed her teeth at me, and I ducked my head. "Seriously, Bora, read the pamphlet. I'll forward information to Marcel about a screening. The advice of a specialist is better than my general knowledge." "Thank you. I appreciate that you've been so kind to a random child. Anyone but predators would." "I don't need a reminder. The last 20 years of my life are like someone else lived them. Feck the Federation," Onzo hissed. Sarah furrowed her brow. "Are you okay?" "I'm fine. I'm fecking splendid, but I'm going to crack some fossil skull before I call it even." "Well then, I'll be happy to show you guys around the facility, and we could use the extra hands, paws. There will be no violent or anti-Federation talk around these Vendel, okay? Please, whatever you're going through, leave it at the door." The Yodel flicked his ears in acknowledgement, as all three humans surveyed him with worry. There must be something about Onzo's backstory that only Tyler knew. From what I had gauged, the Federation diagnosed this marsupial with predator disease due to his aggression. He could have been me after my reckless behavior on Silas. Onzo was right when he told me not to use the words predator disease to refer to myself. Even if it was a Vendel's natural state, the humans were the only ones that understood that. I had thought about visiting my family while I was on Vendel Prime and introducing them to Marcel. However, the fact was that I belonged with predators more than my own people now. The dark truth had been right in front of my face. Every time I felt shame over my own transformation, my parents wouldn't recognize me anymore. They would reject me if they realized what a violent man I'd become. It took coming home to realize that the old Slanek was dead. There would be no return to normalcy. End of story. I would quickly like to thank our Tier 5 patrons, Dragzoon W.R.E., Quantum Wednesday, Ambrose Cattell, Lord Ashrakal, Bushmaster 177, Casper Arnholtz, Cam Maxwell, and Arcadian. Thank you very much.